You're watching Metropole Television. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiaget. This is most certainly business. Welcome to our sector trends this morning, where we're telling you exactly what is trending in the different sectors and industry within and outside our economy. Now, the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO has identified the issue of feeding the planet as one of the emerging conversations due to an ever-rising population. Now, the focus for agriculture has now shifted to producing more and better to feed Africa's growing population. Now, while the focus is to produce more, there is an ever-increasing need to address the challenges that the farmers are facing that are accruing from the natural calamities like climate change. Every farming season, African farmers are exposed to a wide range of climate risks, including drought, excessive rainfall, pests and diseases, and several other perils that negatively affect their yields. Now, addressing these challenges, the African Risk Capacity Limited, that's ARC Limited, has announced a partnership agreement with Pula to deliver best-in-class agriculture indexed insurance products to protect African farmers from such challenges. Now, as an aggregator specializing in meso and micro parametric insurance in agriculture, Pula provides the levers to connect participating farmers with regional insurance companies and global reinsurance firms to underwrite such risks. Joining us this morning to talk about some of these challenges and more, right, about this partnership, we are joined by Thomas Njeru, is the CEO Pula, and Leslie Novu, he is the African Risk Capacity CEO. Gentlemen, good morning. And I want to start with you, Thomas. Yes, this partnership has been inked. What are you feeling about this? How long has this plan been in the pipeline?
It's been almost a year, if probably 9-10 months since we started the discussions. From our side as Pula, we are very excited, and we see a huge opportunity in closing the gap of insurance, especially among us, the smallholder farmers. As you all know, agriculture is the bedrock of economies in the region, and unfortunately, the penetration of insurance is amongst the farmers is a meager less than 1%. So we are looking at this collaboration as an opportunity to reach out to many farmers and solve the problem of food security. As we go along during the interview, we can link the two. How is insurance related to food security?
Fantastic, because that's the conversation actually this morning. So let me just bring in Leslie. All right, Leslie, I mean, when we talk about the natural calamities that are facing farmers, especially in the region, how high up there do they rank?
So this is a big challenge for the farmers. I think, as Thomas alluded to, agriculture is a big contributor to African GDPs, contributing about a third to the total GDP and contributing about 70% of the employment, through direct and indirect means. So therefore, when you think about solving the greatest economic challenges that the continent faces, solving the issues in agriculture rank really at the top. We see insurance as being extremely important in this regard, because insurance then allows farmers to be more resilient and be able to bounce back from the effect of natural disasters. As a result of climate change, we are seeing an increase in the frequency and in the severity of natural catastrophes, in particular droughts and flooding. Therefore, we are extremely excited about this partnership with Pula, because it allows us to cover more people and to reach parts of Africa that would not be able to reach by ourselves. Because historically, at African Risk Capacity, we have worked at the sovereign level, and now in terms of our new strategic shift, we are looking to work at the meso and at the micro level, and Pula plays a key part in the deployment of our new strategy.
Fantastic. Let me just get back to Thomas now. Now, Thomas, yes, we have inked this deal. Good. So what type of a farmer are you targeting with this, and what sort of products are we going to see around this new partnership?
Primarily, as you would be aware, Africa's production is probably 70% of it is driven by the smallholder farmers. And unfortunately, these are the most underinsured segment of farmers. So this partnership will primarily be focusing on the smallholder farmers, as well as the pastoralists, to contribute to the biggest chunk of our production. In terms of the kind of products we are looking to deploy to these farmers, it's what you call index-based insurance products. Index-based, essentially, these are products that or mimic the performance of the farmers on the ground, and they actually have enabled us to do that in a cost-effective manner. And to go to the specifics, we are looking at about 3 or so products. The first one that we see a huge opportunity is what we call the area yield index product, which effectively guarantees the yields of the farmers against the different perils they face, from drought to locusts to the products that we look to deploy. There's also another product we call NDVI index, which essentially looks at vegetative cover, especially in the grassland areas, and it protects farmers against, pastoralists for that matter, pastoralists against things like drought or even systemic fires that actually completely destroy the vegetative cover.
Pretty much. Let me just bring in Leslie, therefore, so we can talk about this. You've approached this from an insurance perspective, but you do know that while the penetration of insurance, especially in the region, has been on a low. So what's going to happen different this time that yes, these farmers and the people you're targeting are going to say, wow, we have to take up insurance? Are you going to go into much of training?
Yes, that is exactly right. The African risk capacity is itself a two-headed institution. We have, on the one hand, a development agency, ARC agency, and we have the insurance company, which I am the CEO of. Our colleagues on the agency side are really involved in helping a country to understand the risks that it faces. In this particular case, we're talking about drought. So what is the frequency of drought? What is the severity? And also helping the country then develop appropriate contingency plans, because insurance doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a much wider system of managing the exposures in the country. And then at the point at which we offer insurance, we then need to spend the time to drive awareness, and to ensure that the farmers are taking up the product. Historically, it has been difficult to achieve this because of the high cost of distribution. If you can imagine trying to reach an individual farmer in the northeastern part of Kenya is extremely costly. However, thanks to technology and the emergence of players like Pula, the aggregation of these farmers has become easier, to a point where a sufficient number of farmers can be insured by insurers such as ourselves in a very cost-effective way.
Pretty much. Just before I let you go, Leslie, because I want to bring in Thomas so he can tell us exactly why it's therefore important for us to feel the need that even local farmers need to be sort of exposed to regional and international insurers. It's going to probably talk about what the outlook of the local insurance sector is. Now, before I let you go, therefore, I mean, yes, you're talking about approaching it like the farmers now have taken insurance. Could you tell me what the adoption rate has been so far prior to this partnership?
When I started, or we started the journey of agriculture insurance, this was in 2009. I think we were talking of probably even less than 0.5% penetration. Over the last couple of years, we've seen increase in farmers adopting. We're scratching the surface. At the moment, Pula, we've reached 3.5 million farmers across 12 countries. Of course, Kenya being one of them. But I mean, we have hundreds of millions of farmers in Africa. So we haven't yet scratched the surface. But I believe that we are at a tipping point in the sense that at least we're getting close to getting a critical mass to the point where once we have enough capacity, and this is where Africa Risk capacity comes, because as you increase the size of the pie, you need to have insurance companies that have the appetite and ability to actually insure these farmers at scale. And at the moment, Africa Risk capacity has the ability to operate in over 33 countries in Africa. So then that gives you the impetus to be able to move forward.
Pretty much. Just before I let you go, Thomas, okay, what is the essence of connecting a local farmer with an international insurer? What are the pools around that area?
Fair enough. That's a very good question, actually. Think about it from an insurance perspective. If I insure 1 million cars in Kenya, the risks are not really correlated in the sense that I cannot have all the 1 million cars in Kenya having an accident at the same time. But agriculture is very concentrated and systemic as a risk. And therefore, in insurance, we call it's not diversified. Because when you insure 1 million cars, they need to be not correlated for you to say you have a stable portfolio as an insurance company. But in Kenya, it's possible for a whole region to actually have a drought. You can have actually a systemic drought. And then if there's no insurance company from a local perspective that can shoulder that kind of risk. And that's why we are bringing in Africa Risk capacity, because once you have some risks in South Africa, some risk in West Africa, some risks in Central Africa, some risk in East Africa, then they have that element of diversification. And that's the essence of why you need that international reach for you to be able to sustainably insure the agriculture sector.
Pretty much. All right, Leslie, let me bring you in as well. Yes, you are targeting farmers. Some people will say that's quite a critical area. What draws you to this sector? Why not any other sector?
So the African Risk capacity was set up under the auspices of the African Union, particularly to deal with the exposures that countries have to natural disasters. And one of the main natural disasters that we face in Africa is drought. And this is coupled with the importance of agriculture to national economies. So therefore, it naturally lends itself that as an institution that is concerned about managing exposure to natural disasters, we would also be particularly interested in drought. And as I say, historically, the big challenge has been how you reach as many farmers as possible efficiently and in a cost-effective way. And now, thanks to technology and to the aggregators, this is starting to take shape. Just to on what Thomas said earlier, diversification is extremely important, and it's this multi-country diversification that allows us to create a stable portfolio, which then lowers the cost of insurance to the final consumer, because we are spreading the risk across many countries. And then secondly, it's important to point out that at African Risk capacity, we are not looking to compete directly with the local insurance industry. We're in fact looking to complement the local industry by bringing additional balance sheet capacity and by bringing additional expertise, and we'll be working really hand in glove with the local industry to ensure that we cover as many farmers as possible.
Pretty much. Just 1 minute, Thomas, if you may. Somebody is thinking about the regulatory framework that sort of comes into mind when you're trying to balance different regions into one umbrella. Do you think that we have a regulatory framework that is sort of uniform, that's going to make this new venture seamless?
Absolutely. As Leslie alluded to, we'll be working closely with the local insurance sector. And what we are doing now is bringing more insurance capacity. You'll be surprised, agriculture is one of those sectors that as it grows, it's possible actually to end up having not enough appetite, reinsurance appetite. So we spend a lot of time looking for international players who are willing to actually take up the agricultural risk. As you might be aware, farming is very risky. Sometimes I always say it's akin to betting because farmers are exposed to very many types of risk, and therefore not many players actually are very keen. So we spend a lot of time, and for us, the collaboration between Pula and Africa Risk Capacity goes a long way into increasing the capacity that we have.
Pretty much. Leslie, clear for us the conversation this morning. The major characteristics of the farming in the region, or agriculture in the region, is that majority of it is supported by small-scale farmers. Are you saying that this new product or this new partnership looks therefore to bring these small-scale farmers on board? And what small-scale farmer is ready to take insurance?
This is
Leslie, if you can get, Leslie, that was your question, sir.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Do you mind just repeating it?
All right, in just 15 seconds, if you may. Yes, the characteristics of farming in the region is pretty much small scale. So talk to me about which farmer is ready to take up this insurance product. And are you saying, therefore, that you're just catering for these small farmers to come on board?
So at this stage, we are targeting small-scale farmers because those are the most vulnerable. But then the logic of insurance extends to large commercial farms as well. But I have to say that large commercial farmers are already pretty sophisticated in their use of insurance. So the greatest need is really with the smaller-scale farmers.
Pretty much. Thomas Njeru, CEO Pula, and Leslie Ndlovu, CEO African Risk Capacity. Thank you very much for joining us on Metropole TV this morning. I wish you success, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. And thanks for hosting us.
All right. We take a short break here on Business. And once we come back, though, the biggest economic headlines that you're waking up to, the question being, is it the 3.1% economic growth? What is it? We're going to answer that question and some of the takeouts from the MPC meeting just concluded. Just a day ago, once we come back.